So today we're going to be making another cutting board, but this one, I found this template. I'm just going to pick up wood for another project, and in the same store where they sell like all the hardwood and stuff like that I grabbed for the cutting boards, they had this template for the state of Arizona. So I've had a lot of people here ask me, if I can make cutting boards in the shape of, like just random states, California, Arizona being one of them, other states. And I really don't do it because it's really specific. If you're not from that state, you don't care to have one. I get stuck with a template that I don't want. So I figured I would do Arizona just because that's where we live. And I've had so many people ask me for it. So I think I'm just gonna do just a walnut cutting board for this one. Not gonna do anything crazy with it. Okay, I'm lying. I do want to try one thing, but we'll get to that further along in the video. So right now, we're gonna get the wood cut down to size, get it glued up, and then tomorrow sometime try and get it all cut down to shape. We're gonna have to use two different router bits for this one because my straight bit that I normally use is too fat, and there's some pretty deep little curves in here. So other than that though, it shouldn't be too bad. It should turn out pretty cool. And hopefully some people really like this because they've been bugging me about it. So hopefully this will answer their questions. So let's get to it. These boards are about 9 inches wide, 9 3/4, and we need them to be 15 wide. So we've got these 3 pieces here. So I'll pick the ones that have the best looking wood grain. Like this one here looks really nice, so I'll keep this a solid piece. So we'll use this one, and probably this one. Alright, so we'll use these two. We won't cut those up, but this one, to get our extra, 3 or 4 inches, I'll cut this one down the middle, and then we'll glue it up to the sides, and that'll give us the full length for this one. So let's go ahead and get this one ripped down. Now, these have plenty of space on each side for the whole thing. So we'll get these glued up. Once the glue up is finished, we'll send them to the planer. Once that's done, then we'll hit them with the router and start sanding. It's our favorite part, huh? Like I said before, these are now big enough that they fit the entire board, but they still have to be trimmed down. My planer only goes, I think 12.5 is max as far as width goes. Length doesn't matter. Width though, 12.5. So these have to get trimmed down obviously because all this here doesn't really matter anyway. So perfect size, but these 2 pieces of wood obviously were 1 piece. So when I split them up, I tried to match the grain pattern. So you can see all this grain pattern here is kind of pointing up. So I tried to match it just so it looks more natural, so it's not so obvious that it's, glued together. Same thing with this side. This one has a light color on one side, so obviously you don't want a dark and a light. It just doesn't look natural, but this wood grain here is gonna look really nice, so can't wait for that. So let's glue these 2 up. I'm gonna use my cauls, put them here. I flipped these two pieces so all this was in the middle because I want to keep these obviously as straight as possible during the glue up. So let's do this. And then one more thing. So these will be glued up like that, but I'm gonna glue everything up as one so I can do 2 glue ups because I didn't plan on doing 2 cutting boards, but I don't have any other cutting boards that need to get done right now, so I can use all this walnut. So these will be 2 separate boards, but I won't put any glue here in the middle. So when I take them out of the when I take them out tomorrow, they'll just pop apart. They're not gonna be glued together. So just pay attention to what you're doing. You don't want to glue these together, and now you got to cut them apart. You want a nice little bead. I'd rather have too much glue than not enough glue. Another thing is the temperature. I've glued up in temperatures that were over 100 degrees and the glue got tacky within like a minute. So before I was even ready for the glue up, it was already getting tacky and it didn't bond well. And the cutting board, I mean, before I even gave it to the customer, it fell apart on me after I sent it through the planer. So I normally do glue ups at night, but I want to go ahead and get this one over with, and it's not that hot today. Before I really like clamp these down, I'm gonna get these calls on them. There's so much wood, it's gonna wanna buckle. So we're gonna try, we're gonna go ahead and get these on. I've got tape on one side, so it's not gonna stick to the glue, it'll just pop right off. It's another thing you wanna pay attention for. You don't wanna glue these to your workpiece. I should have did that side first. Now y'all get to see me struggle. All right, these are glued up. Everything looks good. We got a nice squeeze out. Go ahead and give them a little bit of pressure. You don't want to push all the glue out, but you do want to see a nice squeeze. Just nice clamping pressure. That's all it needs. So I'll let these sit here overnight. I think some people take them out like 3-4 hours, but overnight is good for me. I've never had any issues with it. Plus, it gives me time to, get some other stuff done. So I'll leave these here overnight, and then tomorrow we'll take them out and get the shapes cut out and the stencils laid out and all that stuff, and be good to go. All right, so we're gonna double side tape this template down and then put it on the bandsaw like we normally do. Wasn't going to put this on the bandsaw, but then I'd have to cut straight across, cut an angle, trim some of this off, so I figured might as well just put it on the bandsaw. Did that one upside down. I just want this close to the edge, but not touching the edge, because I still want to be able to trim some off, but I don't want it too close to where I can't trim any off and things get messed up. So now, as you can see, that's not going anywhere. So let's get on the bandsaw. This one here is done and just pretty much needs to be sanded down, you know, to make sure the edges aren't sharp like they are. And this one will pretty much be done. You know, a little bit of TLC. But this one here, so my idea is to use the bandsaw, cut like a, I don't know, we'll draw like a line through the middle when I can figure out where my pencil is. So I already got my marks on how big this thing is, so something like that. We'll follow the line with the bandsaw. I'll cut a strip of maple. I mean, you can see if you cut it thin enough, I mean, this wood is like, it's like paper. So if I cut one of these about the thickness of the bandsaw, then I'll be able to, this cut we made, we'll be able to stick it in the middle, glue it all together, so when you look at it, you'll see that piece of wood going through. And I figure if we do that 2 or 3 times and get different patterns, it'll be different. So that's what I'm gonna try. We'll see how the first one comes out, and then if the cut comes out nice and all that, then we'll probably do another one. Maybe we'll have 2 that like intersect each other. So cut a strip of wood, and we'll go over to the bandsaw and get that cut down. Put that in place. Come on. This is actually working out better than I thought it was. Got a nice decent squeeze out, so we might be okay. But I'm still gonna put my claws on here just to make sure it doesn't try to bow or kick up in the middle. So once I clean off my paintbrush, we'll get these on. Every time I do a glue up, I feel like I'm just like running around like a chicken with my head cut off. You know, I want this to be good, I want that to be good, I don't want anything to mess up. No matter how much I prepare for a glue up, it's always like this. Alright, so both of these are cut out. They've been planed down, sent through the planer. This is what they look like. Got a little bit of snipe on that one. So this is the one, obviously, that we cut in half, re-glued it with that strip of maple in the middle. Didn't turn out too bad. It could be better for sure. Maybe next time I'll throw like some purple heart or something else in here. But I'm just gonna sand this one down for now and kind of send it, fill in some of these little knots where the planer blades grab some of that wood. Yeah, that's it. Just kind of get some sanding going. These would be simple. I'm not gonna round over these edges. I'm just gonna hit them with the sandpaper by hand just to kind of smooth out the edges so they're not so sharp. And then that'll pretty much be it for these. Definitely making some more. But I just want to try out some, so that's why we did just the maple. We're gonna edit that out. That's why we did just the walnut. So let's get to sanding. both of these have been sanded down. I didn't want to bore you guys with the sanding process. You know, I go through 5 different grits from, I started 100, 120, 180, 220, and then 320. I do like 220, 320 a couple of times, depending on how things are looking. This one, all these edges, it was a little bit of a pain. I had to bring out my Dremel to get down in here, you know, stuff like that. Tear pieces of sandpaper, really get in here. I still need to get in this crack a little bit. It kind of feels weird. It's not smooth. And then instead of giving it like a profile on the edge like I normally do, I just kind of got rid of the sharp corners just because of all this. So now we're gonna pretty much put some oil on it. We're gonna dump in some mineral oil, and then once that kind of dries, you know, we'll scrape off the excess, let it dry. Maybe in a few hours we'll put some beeswax and mineral oil mix on it, and it's good to go after that. So let's get this thing oiled up. Every time I feel it, I think there's something else there, and I could do this all day. All right, let's get these things oiled. All right, let's go ahead and get this one oiled up because there's a sandstorm blowing in, and I don't want all that over the cutting board, so go ahead and knock this out and button everything up. It's probably one of my favorite parts. All right, now we'll set this on the rack so it can dry for a couple hours, then get some beeswax put on it and some mineral oil mix, and she will be good to go. All right, guys, here we are. This is the final results. So these came out pretty good. I wish this wood here was matched a little bit better, but it's kind of all I had. Even though this is all one piece at one point, the 2 pieces they're still not perfect, but it's fine. This one here, though, you can't even tell where I glued them together. So this is probably one of my favorites, and I'm gonna do this, whatever this is called, the technique. So I'm gonna do this again, probably add a few more and have them, you know, like just loop through each other, just to make it visually appealing. So I'll probably end up doing it to like a rectangle. Does that fly on my nose? A rectangle board instead of one of these again. But yeah, I like this shape. It was pretty interesting, but came out pretty good. So I can't complain. They've got the mineral oil and beeswax mixture on them. I melt the beeswax, pour the mineral oil, kind of mix it up, put it in a jar or a container, let it get hard, blase blase. But anyway, that's what I use after I do the coat of mineral oil. So these are done, and now they just wait to be bought. So hope you guys enjoy this. I'll add a few pictures at the end of this video just so you can get a better look at them. But appreciate all the new subscribers we've got. I know I haven't posted in a while. There were some people that kind of joined the channel. I appreciate that. Everybody that's still here, I appreciate you too. So see you guys next time.